Welcome to St. Edward's University.
Summer Research 2014.
Hey, my name is Carl Bosbos, and my research project is on the effects of plant signaling components and their effects on rhizosphere bacteria and Bacillus subtilis bacteria. This is the micro prep room. This is where I make my jusmonic acid, which is one of the treatments I used on my bacteria. This is also where we make the plates, which is what we grow the Bacillus subtilis on, and also where we make some of the solutions and media that we grow the other bacteria on. And we have a cool little oven that we use to sterilize our bacteria, so we make sure everything's safe and all good to go. So this is the ecology lab. The micro prep room is usually really busy, so I like to work up here as well. This is where we keep some of the media we use to grow our bacteria. Also where I keep the 2 concentrations of salicylic acid, which I expose the bacteria to as well. Just for a demonstration, this is what the tubes start out with, so it's really clear. But after about 24 hours or so, they end up really cloudy, which means we've got growth, and that's what we want. So this is the neurobiology lab. I come in here to use their fancy incubator. Right now it's set at 30 degrees. Because unlike the bacteria I culture from the roots, Bacillus subtilis needs to be taken care of with extra love and attention.
Hi, I'm Victoria Alford, an undergraduate researcher here at St. Edward's University. I just finished my freshman year, and now I am conducting research on temperature sensitivity of rhizosphere bacteria associated with common plants found at Wild Basin Wilderness Preserve in Austin, Texas. I also did what Carl did and isolated the bacteria from the roots, little bluestem, curly muley, and evergreen sumac, and I did them in triplicates. Therefore, when I put them in the incubators, I can get consistent data. This is one of the incubators that I used. This one's set at 32 degrees Celsius, but the other ones were 24 degrees Celsius and 28 degrees Celsius. I kept my bacteria in here for 48 hours and measured them every 4 hours using the spectrophotometer, and Carl did the same with his bacteria. This is a setup that I used in order to gram stain my bacteria. I used gram staining in order to see them under a microscope, as well as take percentages of gram-negative and gram-positive bacteria within each of the different temperatures.
My name is Teresa Belinsky, and I have a PhD in ecology and environmental biology from the University of Colorado. And I have been here at St. Edward's University as a professor in biology for the last year. And my research more specifically is on microorganisms, and mostly how microorganisms interact with their environment. And I'm really interested in how those interactions can help improve water quality, help plant growth, help us understand more about environmental processes.
Dr. Johnson, Dave Johnson. I've been a visiting faculty member here at St. Edward's for the last couple of years. I got my degree from my PhD from the University of Texas at Arlington up in DFW. And most of my work, I specialize in plant ecology. That's the easiest way to describe it. Most of the work I've done has to do with asking questions about how plant communities change through time. So mostly in pretty extreme environments like the Arctic and the Alpine. But lately I've been working at Wild Basin to try to understand the plant communities there, the plants that are growing there, why they're growing there, why we see the abundances of different types of plants that we see versus other communities that also, and how the system changes through time.
My name's Dr. John Abbott. I'm the director of Wild Basin Creative Research Center and Wilderness Preserve here at St. Edward's University. Wild Basin is a 227-acre preserve, largely owned by Travis County and managed by St. Edward's University. We're part of the Balcones Canyonlands Preserve, which is a 30,000 plus acre preserve set aside back in 1996 by Travis County, City of Austin, other stakeholders like the Nature Conservancy. Wild Basin is unique because it's open to the public 7 days a week, 365 days a year, sunrise to sunset. But it's also part of St. Edward's University, so it provides a great opportunity for St. Ed's students, faculty, and staff to come out and have meetings out here, do research out here. And we are just starting to work on accumulating this large data set, long-term data set, on the biota, the flora, weather, meteorological parameters, things like that, so that we can have this this data set to look at over time and decide if things are, what is kind of normal versus unusual out here over time.
I really like microorganisms because they influence our lives in so many different ways, but we're completely unaware of most of those ways that they impact us. And that's because they're so small. So most of us grow up thinking that microorganisms are really bad because all we know about them is that they make us sick. So we get the cold, that's a virus. We get strep throat, that's a bacteria. We take antibiotics for that, right? And so what we really learn most about in our lives is how they make us sick. But actually, there are so many different things that microorganisms do that we're completely dependent on. We wouldn't be able to live without them. Microorganisms live in our body, on our body. They also live in soil and in water. And the vast majority, 99% of the microorganisms that we know about do not cause humans any problems. They don't make us sick at all. Instead, they do things like they help us digest our food, or in soil, they produce antibiotics, which is really good for us. Or they do things like they help plants grow. So they are in cooperation with plants in order to live off of the things that plants are excreting. And in exchange for that, they somehow help the plants grow. And we're not really sure how they do that exactly, but that's what one of the things that we're trying to do in my lab is to understand more about that.
Most of the plants living here are drought tolerant, or are at least tolerant of wide swings in variability in precipitation. So there might be really wet years, there might be really dry years, but those species over the long term can, the populations can survive. So if we understand systems like Wild Basin, we can use that as a model system for other parts of urban wildlife preserves in order to have a better functioning socioeconomic system, so including all of Greater Austin.
Research is really important because it's the main way that you take what you've learned in classes and in school and you actually have to apply it to new situations. And that's when you really understand whether or not you know what you think you know. So you take general biology and you learn so much stuff, right? You learn about cells and organ systems, and then you take that and you learn about organisms and ecosystems. So you've taken this whole year of classes. But then when you get into the lab, a lot of times what happens with students is they realize how little, they thought they knew so much. When they get into the lab, they realize, well, they knew all of that, but they didn't know how to apply it. And so research is really the way that you learn how to apply all that knowledge, and that's when it becomes really real to people. And that's the way that you are able to do things that are really exciting and interesting with your knowledge.
Wild Basin provides a great opportunity for students at St. Edward's University to do research and to have classes out here outside of just the typical indoor classroom. The Keck Foundation has provided a $200,000 grant to get us started with that. We're in the second of 3 years of that. And this year we have 17 students out here doing research funded by the Keck Foundation on Wild Basin, helping us to create this living database of plants and animals and microbes that are out here at Wild Basin, helping us to document what's here so that we'll know long-term the changes that are occurring. And to help us, this data set will also help us in determining what kind of management we need to do out here. Whether activity is impacting the plants and animals out here, things along those lines. So it provides a great opportunity for both preservation and education, and a great opportunity for St. Edward's University students to get outside of the classroom and enjoy the outdoor classroom.
Fieldwork and research in general is a lot of fun, and hope you guys have had as much fun as we have.
Summer research is an excellent experience.
It's a great way to test what you learned during the school year and to make critical connections.
We learned a lot of techniques that we probably wouldn't have learned until our junior year.
And the way real science works, through trial and error, and overcame the many challenges involved.
A huge thanks to the St. Edward's University School of Natural Sciences,
Wild Basin Wilderness Preserve.
the Keck Foundation, and numerous others.
We encourage you to partake in any form of scientific research because you never know what you might discover.
Go on, take on your world.